10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Welcome, everybody, to a Thursday on the RP, a very special day, because you know what that means. Kevin the Medium is going to be with us. Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast. He speaks to dead people. That's what makes him so popular here. And John Murphy's coming up in hour 2 as well. Talk more ball. We got Murph, four-time Grey Cup champion. You won't really notice a difference. I've moved inside here at Golden Ticket Sports Center. There's a basketball camp going over my shoulder. Joe thinks it'll just look like a lot more fun. Kevin the Medium is here, buddy. What's going on, man? What's new in your world? What do you see ahead?
Well, I keep seeing people behind you playing basketball, and I'm kind of jealous. Although I never was a big basketball guy, I'd like to be out there.
Oh, my God. Let's jump right to it. Are you reading my mind, Kevin? The poll question today for EMJ Marketing is, would you attend an NBA preseason game in your city? Because the Raptors announcing yesterday they're going to be playing in Quebec City and Vancouver against the Heat and the Clippers. It's a yes for me. I went to 1992 when the Minnesota Timberwolves played the Atlanta Hawks in Saskatoon. I went. I became an NBA fan from that day forward. What are you voting, yes or no?
I would say yes, even though I'm not a fan. I mean, it would be a spectacle, I guess you could call it. So yeah, I would go for sure.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on what the ticket prices were and all. God knows, I'm almost afraid to see what the ticket prices will be for those Raptors preseason games. But I love the neutral site games. Yeah. So that's the poll question. Interestingly enough, 100% of voters on our Instagram story vote are saying yes. 100% saying yes. 75% of our YouTube voters are saying no. But anyways, here's me throwing a curveball at Kev. He says to me an hour ago, what are we going to talk about? The NBA wasn't what I told him we were going to talk about. I said we're going to talk about what's right down your wheelhouse. We got NHL to get to. I'll push the NFL to hour 2 when Murph is with us. Week 9 kicks off your BC Lions. And by the way, the CFL head office people might want to cover their ears at some point over the next 30 minutes. They're going to have to bite their ass about something here. Your Lions, you're already covering your eyes? Lions at Winnipeg tonight? You think it's going to be bad?
There was no redeeming qualities of last week's BC Lions game. There's always usually something you can take from a game and go, oh, well, we'll kind of concentrate on this. Jake and I did our show last night, and I was trying to find something positive about the last game, and I couldn't find a damn thing. So I'm going to still pick my BC Lions to win. I'm hoping with the change of QB, because Bryce has proven one thing, and that is he's not a starter in the CFL or any other league for that matter.
We did learn that. There's a positive. Yes. We learned Chase Bryce is not a starter, and we'll be interested to see how long he stays around. By the way, from the audience, the Rod Squad has shown up. Carlos in Indiana says, I have yet to attend a Pacers game. I'm not into basketball. He's from Indianapolis. Vancouver Eric says, not supporting any Rogers product in this city. Oh, I feel like everybody's reading my diary because we are going to be getting into the Rogers stuff and the streaming stuff and obviously some NHL stuff. So, hey, Rogers better be careful, man. If there's one thing about Canadians, they don't play. If they're going to be that pissed off at Rogers, which I don't blame. I canceled my Rogers cell phone for different reasons. It wasn't a boycott. I wasn't using it, so I got rid of it. But I'm like, yeah, Rogers is a swear word in this country right now of Canada.
It really is, and it's almost amazes me. Like they came out with the streaming for the NHL, and they said that Rogers and Amazon, and everybody didn't even listen to anything else that was said. It was bad Rogers. It's catching on, and whether you agree with it or not, I mean, people are pissed.
Well, yeah, and that's not what we're going to get into here. I'm leading Kev down these roads that I didn't plan here. I said we're going to talk about tonight's game. And before, I'll get this off my chest now because I'm reading the game notes. Vancouver Eric says, when do you get into your deep dive of the coverage? And I'm like, well, when I was working in the league, a voice of a team, I would like Monday, I would be going to so I was ready all week long. But
Yeah.
it's different here now. I got a different job, a different role. So this morning I'm reading the game notes, and it says Caden Salter was mentored. I'm paraphrasing. This is the game notes from the CFL. It's at rodpedersen.com right now under our picks. Caden Salter, who will start tonight for BC, was under the guidance of Canadian Football Hall of Fame inductee Kent Austin at Liberty. Guys, you should know this, CFL. You run the Hall of Fame. Kent Austin is not in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, and I'm just kind of sitting back going, 2026, is that where we're at, Kev? It don't matter. I'll tell you what, Kent will never get in. If you all think he is already in, he's not in.
Do just a little bit of research before you post something. Stop relying on AI to write all your freaking notes. And AI is wrong 20% of the time. I know because I use it. And a lot of times I'll be like, that doesn't sound right. And I'll double check it and going, yeah, no, AI is not right all the time. Not only was he mentored by Austin, did you know that he is the cousin of, Jake brought it up. I want to say KC Printers.
Yeah, I did. I heard that last week. I think Bob Marjanovic, I saw the Moj had that on his Twitter. So, yeah. But I guess that's the thing. Moj comes from my vintage, where we're not posting stuff unless we know that it's correct. Or, I mean, frankly, Oiler fans are ripping me today because I was on the podcast yesterday, the Bleed Oil Blue podcast, which is a good one, and I said that Mike Babcock wouldn't be the coach of Edmonton if their owner could be patient enough and wait a week, and people are going nuts about that. I'm like, do I know that's true? No. Does it matter anymore? No. We got the CFL game notes saying Ken Austin's in the Hall of Fame. That's wrong. I guess they don't care. Like, I guess none of it matters anymore. I just, as a personal friend of Kent's, I was offended that would be in the game notes that Ken Austin's in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame when he's not. Of all people, if it was in the Vancouver Sun, I get it. Ken hasn't been relevant. Yeah, right, but not from the CFL itself. But again, if I say this, do I get canceled? Maybe I've already been canceled by the CFL. I don't really know. But it's just, I know this. When I make a mistake, I have my feet held to the fire. I don't understand why others get a pass on that. And I'm not going to give it to them. So, anyways.
For the CFL to say it is just outrageous. Like, come on, get your facts right.
Pretty bad as far as I'm concerned. We got Robin Vegas says, I didn't have Caden Salter versus Drew Brown on my starting quarterback bingo card. David in Winnipeg, David number 1 says, good morning, Rod and Kevin. Let's go, Smurf Mafia. The warm-up continues right after this on the RP Show.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show from the Golden Ticket Sports Center. As you see, Kevin the Medium is with me, and don't mind me. I was just editing a post involving Adam Bighill, the clip from the show yesterday. Thank you, Joe, for that. We posted it. Kev, you must be, as the BC Lions aficionado that you are, loving these Lions greats that we're going to get on. Like Lule's coming on, and Bighill was yesterday talking about that 2011 season. We haven't been on all week. I was in the CFL history. It's so awesome. Like you and I are into it. Your son, Jake, I'm thinking he's into it, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, especially 2011. 2011 for any Vancouver sports fan is that special year. The BC Lions started 0-5 and went on a run and won the Cup. And who can forget what happened in 2011 with the Vancouver Canucks? It was just a special year. You look at that history and you look at that BC Lions team, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It was such a fun year. We actually, as a family, jumped in our old Dodge Caravan, drove from Calgary to Vancouver to watch the Western Final through the Rocky Mountains in the middle of the frickin' winter. That's dedication.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of dedication, from the text line, Bob writes in. He says, good morning, Rod and Kevin. Missed your show. I'm back watching it today. Have a great day, guys. Bob in Medicine Hat. Wayne in BC says, good morning, Rod, Kevin, and squad. I'm not a big basketball fan, so I probably wouldn't go. That's the poll question. Would you go to an NBA preseason neutral site game if it came to your city? The Raptors announced they're going to Vancouver and Quebec City with theirs. But anyways, back to that BC Lions thing. Just the reason I ask about the history is nobody clearly really is telling the CFL story that I see in this country, and I spend my summers in Canada, so I'm kind of looking around. I'm kind of here, and I'm like, no, the story is the 2011 Lions. We've been talking about it a lot because they're 1-5. And you said you're going to pick them tonight, so I'll put you down for that. Doesn't surprise me. You always pick them to win, and that's fine. I've got Winnipeg. The Bombers have won 4 in a row against the BC, and that's with starters, basically. Like Nathan Rourke, his kryptonite was always Winnipeg, right? He couldn't beat Winnipeg?
Always. Oh, that was
right.
Yeah, it was like, come on, we need to beat Winnipeg. I'm hoping now with Salter, he's got more of a triple threat to him than what we saw with Bryce, who's just a drop back quarterback, and we don't have the line for a drop back quarterback. So I'm hoping with this triple threat where he can scramble, he can throw the ball a mile, and he can run. That's the big thing.
Well, when he came into the game, I was watching it Saturday night with former voice of the Calgary Stampeders, Kevin Gallant. And the first throw Salter threw was like, zing. I'm like, whoa, this guy's, he got something, right?
Yeah.
And to be honest, Rob from Las Vegas isn't wrong when he said he didn't have a Caden Salter versus Drew Brown on his bingo card, for week 9. No, but you know what? And maybe it doesn't sell tickets. I don't know, but there's a great curiosity factor there. And it would be a massive upset if they walked in there. And the Bombers are no great shakes at home. That's why I'm calling it Princess Stadium. People are liking that. They're 1-3 at home. So this is not a slam dunk tonight. That's why we all got to watch. But when I go back to telling the CFL story, the 1-6 BC, the 0-5 and 1-6 BC Lions at 2011 rallied. Like Big Hill said it yesterday. He goes, I was a rookie that year. We're 0-5, and I'm looking around going, what did I get myself into? Like the stories are amazing. And just one thing, like I know all the Riders stories off by heart, and our viewers all do too. But I mean, the John Huffnagel Grey Cup pregame speech in Montreal 2008. Guys, it's their stadium. It's their crowd. It's their this. We got them right where we want them. And Calgary comes out and wins. That's an unbelievable stuff. That clip should be played before every game. I'm just saying, these stories are fading into oblivion, and it makes me want to cry.
I think it goes back to what you and I talk about on a regular basis, is the CFL just ignores its own history. It doesn't use its alumni in any shape or form to keep that history alive. Like, we should be celebrating this stuff. And not just the BC Lions. I could go back and we could talk. It's funny because when we talk about history and we're talking about 2011, and I'm like, is that history? Oh, I guess it is. It was 15
big time
years ago.
Sorry to tell you.
Let's go back into the 90s and the 80s when it was the game. It was like we were putting 50,000 people into BC Place. I mean, those were the years. There's so much history to talk about with the CFL, and it just gets left behind.
Well, by the way, that's what's fun about this show. And Brendan writes that he says, I feel for Calgary and Vancouver losing their radio stations. Brutal. No, it is. But I've told Kev that our podcast downloads have tripled in the last month since those stations went off the air. So I'm going to be perfectly honest. It's great for us. Sorry to say. What?
We will consume our sports information one way or the other.
Oh, they're going to get it.
We're not going to stop consuming it. If we have to go searching for the RP show and download that podcast, guess what? We're going to do that. We're going to do this at Harrison Price. We're going to find the Hughes Sports Podcast. Please find the Hughes Sports Podcast. And we're going to find all those other podcasts because we don't have that radio station anymore. So people aren't going to just go, oh, I'm not playing and I'm not going to watch sports anymore because it's not on radio. It's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. No, exactly. And how old is your son, Jake?
32.
32. So Kev was saying that he's taking it particularly hard that Fan 960 went off the air. Why wouldn't he? He doesn't know life without Fan 960. And those listeners out in Vancouver don't know life without Sportsnet 650 largely, or TSN 1040. But you know what? Life will go on. That's what I've been said a lot of times recently. I don't mind being my age because there's a great historical reference here. And I remember a time when there was not sports radio. So we were reading the paper. That ain't happening now either. But they're getting it somewhere. Right. So anyways, back to all of this. Kevin says the CFL doesn't celebrate its history or the alumni. I'm like, Kev, what I said, they don't even know it when they say Ken Austin's in the Hall of Fame and he's not. And that's in the game notes. I'm sorry. I can't give them a pass because I got to show up here every day and be good and know my shit. I have to. Why don't you?
Well, and you're the CFL. You're literally in charge of putting people into the Hall of Fame.
It's in the game notes, and I was just clearly it's on my nerve. Vancouver Eric says, we know Ken Austin in this city. He was a Lion at one time. Oh, that was when I was doing no, but that's when I was doing sidelines for the Riders, and in the middle of all of this. And as you know, Ken Austin. When I say in the middle, I mean I kind of was in the middle. I was covering the Riders for CKRM radio was on the sidelines, and Ken Austin left Saskatchewan because in the 90s, listen, kids, gather around. Every team in the CFL had $1 million quarterback except us. The Tracy Hams, the Damon Allens, the Matt Dunnigans, the Doug Flutys, everybody had $1 million quarterback but us. And Kent's looking there going, I'm leading the league in passing. Why the hell am I not getting $1 million? So he went in and demanded a trade, ended up going to the BC Lions, and he was the flippin' villain, man. You think Henry Burris was vilified here? Ken Austin, way, way, way worse, because how dare you turn your back on this province, even if it was for those reasons. And anyways, when they came back in 94, I was doing the sidelines. Kent came back with the BC Lions, and they had an Austin Mini car out front of Taylor Field, painted green or orange, came out with a 5 on it, and people were able to, for $5, come up and smash that thing with a sledgehammer, all proceeds to charity. They hated Ken Austin. Do you remember that?
They made a big thing about that. I actually, I can, as you said it, I remembered seeing the picture of it, and it was like, you guys are nuts. But that was the CFL back then. I mean, it was fun. It was big. Riders would sell out every game. BC had 50,000. Edmonton, you talk about a team that just literally had that crowd. Edmonton had that crowd. I don't know what happened.
Well, okay, so let me say this, and we'll get back to the games here, but I mean, we don't have to. I'm having fun with this discussion. And maybe I stepped in it here, but I don't think that I did. Jeff the Stamps fan writes in, he goes, Ken Austin isn't in the Hall of Fame. Look, number one, I Googled it, and he's not. I went to his Wikipedia page. He's not. It's always on a footnote of any of these iconic football and hockey players when they went into the – it's not on there. So if he is, then I'll apologize, but I'm pretty sure he's not in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. I don't remember – yeah, I'm going to believe that he is. Vancouver Eric says, stay classy, Saskatchewan. Hey, Vancouver, why don't you go burn your city down again? Watch your frickin' mouth. You knew that was coming.
That is always the comeback. That is always the comeback.
And it
I get
should
it all
be
the time.
When Vancouverites get mouthy, that ends it. So where I'm at, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not just Vancouverites. Corey, the producer's beaking away on the background. It's always, anytime a Vancouver fan has anything to say, it's always, oh, go burn your city down. It happened twice. I was going to say once, but it happened twice. It didn't happen through the Olympics. Look at the Olympics. I always go back to the Olympics because it's a loving time there.
All I'm saying is I'm loving of all these Canadian cities and American cities, but don't come at my province or I will shove it down your throat. 902-518-3033. Wilfin Steinbach writes in and he says, hey, sorry, Kevin, Lions would have a better chance if Buck was starting at quarterback. Noni in Calgary writes in and says, hi, Rod and Kevin. I love the history of the CFL, but unfortunately it's probably a generational thing. The younger people have very short attention spans, so to find a way for them to be interested in history is probably almost impossible. But that's not, we're not going to give up, Noni. We can't give up. We can't give up. Okay, so there are those of us that love it, and there will be young people that are into it. Trust me. I mean, I was saying the other day, when I was a kid, I read everything I could get my hands on. It wasn't just CFL history. It was NHL history, NFL history, provincial history, political history, whatever. That was just me. Yes. And that's why I'm sitting here. And Kev, I said earlier this week that when I started the Panthers podcast, I had Panthers fans in Florida say, we don't care what happened before 1993. And I said, then turn it off. Because that's like us saying we don't care what happened before we were born. That's just idiot speak. There was a life before you were born. So,
it's a fact.
Yeah. Vintage Sasko writes and says, hi, Father Pedersen and the iconic Full House Hughes. Salter is going to upset the deplorable Smurf Mafia tonight. Will be interesting who the Lions protect in the Quebec City expansion draft this winter. Rourke or Salter? He's being facetious. He says signed, banned Sasko, which, by the way, he apparently is banned from Twitter. What do you got to do to get banned from Twitter? I've never been banned from Twitter, but I don't go on there and swear and start fights. Have you ever been banned from Twitter?
You know what? I've never been banned by Twitter, and I've never gone to Facebook jail. And it's funny because in my past life, my political life, I was not a nice person on Facebook. I was a bit of I would stir the pot a little bit, I'll say. But I don't know what you need to do to actually go to Facebook jail or get banned from Twitter. You must, I don't know. Sasko sounds like such a nice guy. I don't know what he's doing out there.
I don't know either. Maybe somebody ratted him out. Scott in Vancouver says the vast majority of the younger generations think the CFL is a Mickey Mouse league. Well, to be honest with that, like I'm a big CFL guy, but can I tell you something? Who's responsible for your image/brand? You. So the stats problems, the lack of an app, all those things, can you blame the younger generation? So it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't blame the younger people. Arlen Bruce writes in, says, RP and Kevin, the medium, Ken Austin probably had the best offensive package I've ever been a part of. What a great offensive-minded coach. All right, we'll be back. It's the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Dean, Brody, and the Reclaws teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else. I can't help myself.
Two of Canada's biggest country acts. One stage, one unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I knew it would be great today. The text line's open, 902-518-3033. By the way, Wayne writes in and says, thanks, Rod, for sticking up for Saskatchewan. Always have, always will. But thank you for noticing, Wayne. So Kev is here. I guess let's put a bow on the CFL stuff. The warm-up is brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Join CFL legends Adam Big Hill, Willie Jefferson, Jake Serezna on the cruise of a lifetime. 7 days out of Fort Lauderdale, February 20th. Kevin the Medium's going to be on it. Prices from $18.99. Cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel. Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. Kevin is picking BC to win at Winnipeg tonight. In other news, the sky is blue and grass is green. So beyond that, Montreal and Ottawa, who do you have?
Montreal's gonna. It shouldn't even be close. So I'm taking Montreal.
Calgary and Hamilton on Saturday in a rematch of the 1998 and 1999 Grey Cups.
Yeah, without Bo, can you imagine the storyline going into this one if Bo was still playing and they were doing as good as they started? That would be a great matchup. But unfortunately, with Bo gone, Calgary's going to. VA's just been on a different level this year. So Calgary for sure on that one.
And I was trolling a little bit yesterday. I ended up deleting it, but they're all proud up in Edmonton. We're selling 1,700 tickets a day for this game. So I said, you're welcome, Rider fans. Thank you, Rider fans. Who do you got? I got the Elkamos. I got the Elkamos to win.
I saw that tweet, and I tried to go back to it because I couldn't remember the exact number. It was like, oh, Roddy, that was hilarious. You know what? I went back and forth. It was such a good game last week. I think it was one of the best games I've seen in a long time. I don't know when's the last time I've seen such a good game played. I'm going to take the Elkamos just because death, taxes, Cody Fajardo winning. It seems to be a thing.
He's a chosen one. Should be a great game. That's like, is it Saturday yet? 5 p.m. Mountain is the kickoff. Yeah, it's going to be great. Okay, so that's our CFL picks. The reason I'm hustling that up is this. Where the hockey fans at? Point two, the San Jose Sharks made Macklin Celebrini the NHL's highest paid player Wednesday, signing the star center to a 5-year contract extension worth US $18.8 million a season. The 20-year-old from North Vancouver, BC, surpassed the $18 million average annual value in Leo Carlson's 5-year contract with the Anaheim Ducks. So the reason I bring this up with Kev is I was watching his podcast last night with his son, Jake, the Hughes Sports Podcast, and I texted Kevin. I said, you might want to submit your kid for a drug test. Do you want to tell the viewers why?
Oh, my gosh. And it's not just Jake. It's so many people on Canucks Twitter. They're all going on about 2032. Think about that, Rod. We're sitting here in 2026, and the best thing they can do is talk about 2032 when Connor Bedard and McElhinney's contracts are up, and they have this theory they're both going to become a Canuck. Because somewhere down in the past, they both said something about it would be kind of cool to play for the Canucks. Oh my gosh. Hope is a dangerous thing when you're a Canuck fan. It really
or delusion.
Is. Well, it's hope, Rod. When you're a Canuck fan, and I think the same thing goes for a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, you give us something. You give us a little bit of hope, and we run with it to the extreme. And I hate this time of the year. I talked to you this morning about it. It's like, when can the season start? Because I'm so tired about this speculation. And now we're talking 5 years out. How about we talk about next season? Let's just focus on next season and what we're going to do next season.
Well,
and how we're going to manage to finish last again.
I don't like it either, but to be honest, our former producer, Clark, I don't know what's young anymore. Like Clark, I'll never forget. He was born in 91, so I'd make him 36. Is that young? I guess it's young. Anybody under 40, is that young? That's the millennial. He was right into it too, and you said your son was 32. And I'm like, I don't care. It's a waste of my time. All of this speculation and crap is a waste of my time in July. But the biggest failure of a man is his failure to evolve. So we need to get with it. Why am I wearing an NFL top? And why am I bringing up the Celebrini thing? Because that's what the young people are talking about. I would be an idiot to ignore that. I really would be. But, on the flip side, no, those players aren't going there. And but furthermore, by the way, so we've addressed that. They're not going there. Not anytime, not for the next 5 years. So are you going to sit and wait? Okay, those guys are happy where they are. Bedard's already said that. And Celebrini looks even happier in San Jose than Bedard does in Chicago. They're not going to Vancouver, so drop it. But furthermore, I was on that Bleed Oil Blue podcast yesterday, and I said to Kev, by the way, 2026, the guy that I'm on with, he went to broadcast school 20 years ago, said he sent letters to all the broadcasters in Western Canada, and I was the only one to write him back. He said he never forgot that. Right, and he brought me on his show so we went into his dad's plumbing company for since almost, and made real money, but now he's back doing a podcast, and dag nabbit if he's not doing a real good job of it. So, right? Anybody can do it as long as you're good. But in that podcast yesterday, we brought up the Babcock order thing, but then Bruce Cassidy, John Tortorella, and just Tortorella have a reason to be upset. And he goes, where do you think Tortorella coaches next, or Bruce Cassidy? Either one of those guys. Tortorella said he wants to coach. We know Cassidy wants to coach. And Raphael is the host of the podcast. He goes, where do you think either one goes next? And I said, well, look at the bottom 5 teams and the odds. And I'm sorry to say, Kev, they're Vancouver, Calgary, Chicago, St. Louis, and Seattle. Do we see them going to one of those teams next year? Probably.
I would take Vancouver out of that equation just because the changes that were made. Mind you, Vancouver likes to change their coach as much as I like to change my socks.
As does Chicago, yeah. I think Calgary. I think Ryan Huska, signed a 2-year extension last summer. So Huska's going. He's just got 1 year left. So if the Flames suck out of the gate, which according to the odds makers, everybody thinks they will. When the kid Raphael said, "What do you think?" He said specifically Tortorella, but Cassidy is looking for a job too. I would think it's one of those. But having said that, you never know what the GMs are thinking and the owners are thinking, right? So that's an interesting talk there. And the Blue Jays, Kev, give me that. We're going to be breaking here within a couple of minutes, but are you still watching them, Kev?
I am, and it's almost becoming an addiction. It's like even when I'm up at the park, as we call it, up at the trailer, I have a TV that I hook up outside, and it's on. The Blue Jays are on, and I just enjoy watching it. It's
good.
Just my thing. So, but they won. They actually won a game yesterday. So maybe this is a turnaround.
Well, the thing with the I'll say, I don't hate Rogers. They employed me I don't hate them for 4 years at Sportsnet. So I don't hate them. I don't like the way they're doing business right now. But as far as those Blue Jays broadcasts go, they do a great job. The Blue Jays aren't always good. Sometimes they annoy you, but the broadcasts are fantastic. Everybody on there is great. Hey?
I don't know who they are. I don't know I couldn't tell you their names of the two guys, the play-by-play caller and the color commentator. I like their chemistry. It's fun to listen to them, and they make the game interesting. And maybe because I'm so new to watching baseball on a regular basis, they teach me as I'm going. So, and that's what you're supposed to do. As you know, you're a broadcaster. You're supposed to be teaching the crowd. You're supposed to be explaining the game to the crowd to the point where we go, oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know what we're supposed to be doing anymore in this trade. I don't know. But it's Dan Shulman and Joe Siddall and Jamie Campbell and Hazel May's been on there for a real long time. You know, they just do a really good job of the broadcast. Jamie, I've known because he used to be the voice of the CFL on Sportsnet. Jamie Campbell, not many people remember that. They only had the rights for 1 year, but it was amazing, which is what I don't understand that the CFL owners don't get. When these stadiums were bursting and packed in the 2000s, all across the country, the games were on Sportsnet, CBC, TSN. We were a real league. They were rivaling the NHL for revenue, for ratings, and now it's not even close. And it's
No.
like they don't even want to talk about how we got to where we are. But I mean, again, not my job. My job is this. Okay, Kev, can you come on tomorrow? I never asked.
It might be tight. I have a 9 o'clock appointment, so I'm not sure. You didn't ask me.
We'll talk. I'll have my
Okay.
agent call your agent. Okay,
Do that.
thanks, Kev. We'll be back. Murph coming up in hour 2. This is the RP Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hasn't it been a blast today? I'm sorry. Hey, in that at times I've been annoyed today. Certain people have annoyed me that have nothing to do with this show. And I did go look it up. And apparently so too did Vintage Sasko, because wouldn't I feel like a goof if I put my foot up the CFL's ass about Ken Austin not being in the CFL, yet they said that he was in their game notes, and then he is? He's not. Vintage Sasko writes, and he says, Ken Austin ain't in the Hall. A shame. Ain't a super long career, but y'all tossed damn near 12,000 yards in a 2-year span. and still not in. Deplorable. I mean, I'll be honest. I just went and looked up the list of Canadian Football Hall of Fame players. He's not on it. And I look at some of the guys that are in there. It's a good Hall of Fame. It's a great Hall of Fame. But if Ken Austin's not in it, I'm going to have issues with it. And why he's not in, like a lot of Halls of Fame, somebody doesn't like him, pissed somebody off somewhere along the line. How is Clint Black not in the Country Music Hall of Fame? Bet he ain't, because he pissed somebody off somewhere along the line. I've been there in that Hall of Fame. I noticed. Where's Clint Black? Oh, he pissed off George, the head of inductions. Oh, okay. That's okay. See how Hall of Fames have kind of lost their luster with me over the years? So, yeah, he not in. Rob from Las Vegas, he's a Blue Bomber fan. He writes in, he says, Caden Salter will make some mistakes tonight, but will also make some explosion plays against the Bombers. That's why these shows are all so great, is because we're teeing you up, giving you a reason to watch the game tonight. I'll be calling baseball. Will I have the game on? Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to get through this show today. I will say this. Last week, I had the Riders-Elks game on while I was broadcasting baseball here, and I'm glad that I did, but I didn't have the sound up. I rarely have the sound up of any games. It's not a personal thing, so that's how I screwed up the name of the kicker. I called him Victor Blanchard. Guess who corrected me today? Chris Milo. Thanks a lot, Milo. Make you feel better correcting me? Oh, well, I was wrong. I called him Victor Blanchard. Apparently, it's Vincent Blanchard. A mistake's a mistake, but I don't think that's as big as the CFL saying Ken Austin's in the Hall of Fame and he mentored Caden Salter at Liberty when he didn't, and he's not even in the Hall of Fame. Brendan Manns writes in, he says, Brandon Banks before Ken Austin? The Hall of Fame debate is one of my greatest debates. And we're all different. You know, like Kevin the Medium and I were just saying how I hate the conjecture. I don't like the salary talk. I don't like the rumors that fly in hockey in July. It's not new. I've never liked it. I'm following it a little more because I'm in that world now more than I've ever have been, but it's still annoying to me. Point is, some people love it. Some people love the draft talks. Like that's what they get out of bed for every day. I'm talking fans, some media, and of course the hockey people do because that's what they do. I've never been a big draft guy, ever. And I'm dyed-in-the-wool hockey in my DNA guy. I don't care about the draft that much. I watch the first round, same with the NFL. Beyond that, I'm not that interested. But Hall of Fames, this question right here from Brandon Banks before Ken, right? Talk about that for hours. And you bring up the fact that Ken threw for 12,000 yards or close to it over 2 seasons. It's not even about that. You tell me how many guys that have coached and played, won a Grey Cup as a player and a coach with the same team. So, you know, Rod Brindamore just did it with a Stanley Cup, which is even, it's not as rare as you'd think I think more guys have done it in the NHL than have done it in the CFL. I think Rod Brindamore was like the 8th guy to play for a team and then coach, to win a Stanley Cup with a team and then coach them and win a cup too. It's been a minute. Toe Blake comes to mind in some of these guys. But anyways, Kent, on the basis of his career as a player, and then he comes in, that's just Kent, one and done. Boop, 2007, only year as a head coach here, wins the Grey Cup. Bye. Which, by the way, if you want to know why this team had so much success under Jim Hobson in the decade of decadence, when he left to go to Ole Miss right after we won the Grey Cup, Jim Hobson, we had that kind of relationship. I said, Jim, what are you doing? How are you letting him out of his deal? He's got 2 years left on his deal. He goes, we don't hold people back. If Ken wants to go coach at Ole Miss, we're going to let him go coach at Ole Miss. We'll be fine. That's Jim. A lot of people wouldn't do that. Arlen writes in, he says, the BC Lions secondary has to step up tonight or Benavides might be on the hot seat. Well, number one, I think he's already on the hot seat. And number two, let's not forget Drew Brown is an interception machine for the Blue Bombers. He threw 4 last week in the loss to the Calgary Stampeders when they got motorboated by the Stamps. So this is not Like the Bombers are favored by 7.5 tonight. It's the biggest point spread of the week, of the 9 in the CFL. Tomorrow, Montreal is favored by 6.5 over, I have them written down here from yesterday. Montreal over Ottawa, 6.5. Sask favored by 1.5. Sorry, Edmonton favored by 1.5 over Sask. And Calgary favored by 5.5 going into Calgary. The odds makers really think Winnipeg's going to motorboat BC tonight, and we'll see. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge. From trucks to SUVs, Western Dodge has what you're looking for. Visit their showroom or online at westerndodge.ca. And by the way, when we talk hockey, it is for the Mad Greek. Experience authentic Greek flavors. There's nowhere else like it. Greek food. You can get it right here at the Mad Greek Eatery. Open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. This is such a tourist mecca, this town. It's unbelievable. I love it. It goes off in the summertime. It's funny because I had a gal come through here the other day. I said she just wanted to stop and meet. I said, let's meet out near the highway, out near the number 1. You don't want to go downtown. It's just a snarl down there. It's like I was talking about Miami. Downtown Moose Jaw is a gong show these days with tourists. Crazy. Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, hey, Rod, I used to ride the streetcar from Mimico to Maple Leaf Gardens to watch the Toronto Toros of the WHA play with some big former NHL stars. Tickets were cheap. Those were the days. Wayne in BC says, it's hard to be a fan of the Canucks with their recent moves. Even the Lions are in troubled times, although they have injuries galore. I'm just a steward of the viewers. I'm just passing along what you all have to say here today. By the way, get all your CFL comments out because we're going to be switching to a lot of NFL next hour. But Murph is joining us to talk about all levels of sport, the stuff that we didn't. He was texting me stuff yesterday, football related. I said, you want to just come on the air, Murph? Oh, okay. Just so you know how my conversations go. So point 1 was week 9 kicking off tonight in all of the CFL games. Point 2 is the San Jose Sharks signing Macklin Celebrini, making him the highest paid player in the NHL. We went through our picks for Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. It's your sports watching headquarters. Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at a place where friends meet. Point 3, we dabbled on the Blue Jays. Trey Savage allowed 1 run in 6 2/3 innings. Kazuma Okamoto went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs, and the Blue Jays defeated the Washington Nationals 5-2 Wednesday. Jays off today before hosting the Cardinals. I'm skipping. We didn't even get to this. Well, we kind of did. Point 4, Toronto Raptors will host games in Quebec City and Vancouver as part of their NBA preseason. The league announced Wednesday that Toronto will face the Miami Heat in the NBA's first preseason game in Quebec City at Videotron Center October 3rd. Raps will then take on the Clippers at Vancouver's Rogers Arena on October 10th. The NBA club also announced it will hold training camp in Quebec City from September 29th through October 2nd at Université Laval's Peps Athletic Complex. So, as much as the streaming stuff's getting completely out of control, and I don't want this to be the negative show, I don't want to sit and talk about that. The good thing is these leagues are kind of getting back to the future, back to the past in taking the show out on the road. You know, the Blue Jays used to do those summer caravans. We all went to them when they came here through Western Canada. NBA, I got not hooked on the NBA, but I became an NBA fan. In 1993, I believe was the year when the Minnesota Timberwolves played the Atlanta Hawks at Sask Place. Went to that. Great crowd. It was awesome. Like this is so much better than on TV. So the poll question today is, would you go to an NBA preseason neutral site game if it came to your city? 100% of Instagram respondents saying yes, they would. 75% of YouTube voters saying no, they won't. So that, I think, is the difference between the demographics of our viewership. By the way, Murph coming up, as I said, next hour. John Murphy, 4-time Grey Cup champion. His chat is brought to you by our friends at Prairie Panels. We'll tell you more about them next hour. Rich in Edmonton writes in. He says, I was in Regina to visit family last week. When we were leaving, a cousin said, we need to go to see Capone's tunnels next summer in Moose Jaw. Guess I've seen all there's to see in Regina. I'm very averse with or knowledgeable of the tourist attractions in Regina. There aren't a lot. RCMP, Rough Riders. It's a short list. It just is. Here in Moose Jaw, you just said it. The tunnels of Moose Jaw, the trolley tours. I can't believe they closed the Wild Animal Park. That's unfortunate. But there is a lot of cool things to do, a lot of history here in the Van City, and great restaurants. So you're right, Rich. We'll see you here next summer because my plan is to be back for that. He says they smuggled booze all the way from Moose Jaw to Chicago? Yep. And by the way, look up Al Capone. He spent his later years in Moose Jaw and South Florida. He's my spirit animal. Hour 2 is coming up right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Start spreading the news. The RP show is on the air. It's a Thursday. We're glad to have you. Ball for all today. You would almost think it's a football Friday, but it's not. John Murphy's coming up here from Houston, Texas. He'll be joining us in the second segment to be talking NFL training camps, CFL Week 9, and a little caller stuff we didn't get to with Murph. It's brought to you by Prairie Panels. So hello to all the Vegas viewers. I like this jacket I got so much at Ultimate Fan Zone. I thought I'd wear it again. I might wear it every day. Broadcasting from the Golden Ticket Sports Center here on Silver State Sports. So we welcome the Nevada viewers. This is hour 2 on Game Plus streaming and WQVZ Radio, your home of sports and sports talk in West Central Georgia and Eastern Alabama. We're all over the place. And before I jump into the quick six, a couple of things. Number one, sponsor mentions, of course. The warm-up is brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group. They are the preferred travel partner of the RP Show and the CFL's BC Lions. They open Week 9 of the CFL tonight at Winnipeg on CBS Sports Network. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. So the viewers have globbed onto the fact that, yes, I am in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan for the summer. It's my home province. It's where it gets too hot in Florida. I come back every June, July, August. I broadcast baseball, NCAA baseball here in the summertime in a summer league. And so they're all kind of asking what's going on and what's cool about Moose Jaw. Al Capone came up here to run booze back in the 1920s and 30s. It's this whole town. They've turned it into a tourist industry. Capone's Tunnels, Capone's Pizza, Capone's Taxi, Capone's Parlor, Capone's Pizza, all these things. And I said, and if you look up Al Capone, go look him up. He spent his later years, which I guess that's what I'm in, my later years, in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and South Florida, which is where I live the other 9 months. So I'll be headed back down there Labor Day weekend. But these guys were asking what's up for the rest of the summer, and my Florida friends were all like, when are you coming back? Well, I got things to do, and I guess we can break some news here. The baseball team for which I broadcast, we have the best team in the league. I expect we're going to go all the way to the league final. It would be shocking if we don't. And the very last game of that league, longest could go, is August 17th. And then August 19th, looks like we'll be in Calgary, hosting a live RP show from Overtime Hockey Lanes. We do it every summer. It's special. They do bring down a live audience. And then August 20th is the Golf Classic, Breaking Free Foundation, which is the foundation put together by Theron Fleury, the former Moose Jaw Warrior and NHL great, and Colin Patterson. The Breaking Free Foundation raises money to provide free therapy for abuse and trauma survivors in the province of Alberta. So that's what we raise money for. And every year I do my show from the golf course. That's August 20th. By the way, they're looking for golfers and they're looking for sponsors. What happened to Calgary? Did you run out of money? They've lost their media sponsor, a lot of the big money sponsors. So it's the Breaking Free Foundation in Calgary. I'll be there broadcasting the show live and hosting the Hot Stove with Theo and his NHL buddies August the 20th. And then coming back and then hosting Rough Rider alumni events Labor Day weekend. And then on the bird, back to Florida. Point one of the Quick Six show topics now. A couple of things coming out of NFL training camps. Please, as we've been saying all week long, or at least since training camps open, tell us what's going on with your team's training camps. Because this is what I've got my eye on. And I went to ESPN.com. Rams defensive end Myles Garrett said that he doesn't want to push defensive tackle Aaron Donald to come out of retirement, but if that does happen, quote, I think we can do great things, unquote. Aaron Donald, who retired in March of 2024 after 10 NFL seasons, is going through a very strict, regimented process to decide whether he wants to play this season. Rams coach Sean McVay said last week, the Rams trade for Garrett in June spurred talk about the possibility of Donald returning to play alongside the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. That's one of the reasons of many why Murph is so great. And he's coming up in the next segment. You tell me, because you're really going to understand what you're seeing out there publicly is so much different than what's really going on. If Aaron Donald was serious about a comeback and they tell us that he is going to play, why is he not in training camp right now? Today is day 2. You would think he'd want to be on the field. It's not like the players that we know from my time in the Canadian football. Yeah, we had a long snapper that only played on Sundays, Bob Poley, but that's different. That's not a defensive tackle. So maybe Murph can explain what he sees, how Aaron Donald's still deciding whether he's going to play with the Rams or not, who are already Super Bowl favorites without him. It's almost like if once Aaron Donald decides to unretire, all of a sudden they're going to waltz their way to the Super Bowl. Why is he not in camp? And I mean, it's not like I didn't always know this, but about 14 months ago, maybe 15 months ago, I was in the rink in Sunrise, Florida, and it was just coming out that Aaron Rodgers was yet to decide whether he was going to play with the Pittsburgh Steelers or not, whether he was going to play at all in 2025. And a guy that I happened to be with, a football guy at the NHL game, says, it's not. They all know he's coming back. He just doesn't want to participate in the OTAs. He doesn't want to participate in mini camps. So as soon as that's over, the Monday after, they'll announce that he's going to play. Bingo. It's exactly what happened. And Aaron Rodgers led him to first place in the AFC North. So I guess what's the moral of the story? The veterans don't really need training camp. I guess that's what we settled on. Now, 1B. Las Vegas Raiders training camp is taking place at Intermountain Health Performance Center in Henderson, Nevada. Fernando Mendoza ran with the second team throughout the morning, looking more comfortable under center, and his accuracy was on point. Let me just pause that for a second. So I got that from ESPN. I love it so much because I'm sitting there. Fernando Mendoza, the number 1 overall pick, the guy that's selling all the jerseys, who isn't even expected to play this year and is running with the twos. That's where the focus of the coverage is. Where was Kirk Cousins? Oh, I don't know. He was over here too busy winning with the number 1s. How did Kirk Cousins look? Oh, nobody cares. It's all about Fernando Mendoza, the backup quarterback. My God, it's already a circus. You wait. I'm telling you today, it's going to become a circus. You see it, right? But do I need to explain it? This team, when they start, and I can't wait. I was just thinking yesterday, I can't wait to get to our Pump Jacks NFL picks. The CFL picks are fun, but the NFL picks are even more fun. There's more games. Dolphins, Raiders, week 1. Feel like I got to go with the Raiders. So as long as they win, this will all be fine. But when they lose, which they will, I can't even think about how much pressure there's going to be on the Raiders to play Fernando Mendoza when the team's losing, which is what's going to happen. But there is good news coming out of the camp. The Raiders had perfect attendance in practice. Edge rusher Max Crosby, inside linebacker Nakobe Dean, and rookie cornerback Jermod McCoy played without any restrictions after not participating in OTAs and mandatory minicamps. So those are just 2 of the things that popped out to me in training camps in the National Football League. Utah Darren writes in and he says, Aaron Donald should be really sure about returning. It's not like a retired accountant coming back to the office. Well, I haven't seen the workout videos. Moose and I have talked about this. Apparently the videos look great, that Aaron Donald looks in better shape now than when he played, which, I mean, I understand that he retired after they won the Super Bowl. I get it. Sort of like, what do I need to prove now? Most guys don't walk away when they can still play. Most guys don't. Remember when Ricky Williams did it? We were all like, and maybe Aaron Donald is that kind of, like Ricky Williams just wasn't that interested in football anymore. And since I've gotten to know him in South Florida, none of that surprises me now that I know him. So in the case of Aaron Donald, why would you come back? You already left once. Ken in Mississauga writes in, he says, I promise I'm listening and not watching the players behind you. I would hope so. You know, it's kind of, so what happened was they rented out the Golden Ticket Sports Center just for today. You see these guys are playing basketball over my shoulder, and I'm like, I'd be more than happy to just move on the other side of the glass. It's really cool to broadcast the show from the middle of a basketball court every day, but I'm not married to it. I can come over here and do this, and that's what I'm doing. So close your eyes, Ken. Sounds like that's what you're doing. Utah Darren says, people will start screaming for Mendoza after he has one good quarter in preseason. He's already attracting all the eyeballs on day 1 of training camp. That's all. Because I've been there covering those camps, which is kind of a story for another time, but when I really realized I can't do this anymore in that role of being the voice of a team and a talk show host or reporting on the team. You realize they've separated it all now? Even my own job, there was like 4 guys they've had to hire to replace me. But I'm at a camp in Florida, and I'm sitting there because I do know what I'm looking at, and I'm ranking the quarterbacks. Well, number one, charting their order of appearance, 1, 2, 3, and 4, because only one guy can play quarterback at a time. And then I'm charting their stats, plus the eyeball test. I'm reporting to our fans what I see, and the coach is like, don't do that. Don't rank them. Why not? I don't want people knowing who was better than who here. It's kind of the idea of what we do. I tell you, why don't you tell me who was ahead if you're afraid of what I'm reporting? No, I just don't want them to know. Why am I here? Wayne in BC writes in, he says, hey, Rod, if you're in your, he says, Rod, if you're in your later years, what am I in? Since I'm 20 plus years older than you. You're only as old as you feel, Wayne. And it's funny, Arlen Bruce wrote in here earlier, the former Chief 49er. He says, Rod, if you could be any age, what would it be? He said he would be 21. I am perfectly fine, real fine with the age that I am now. Because you can't go back knowing what you know now. It doesn't work that way. So I'm real happy with where it is right now. I hope you can see that. 902-518-3030. This is actually hilarious. Jeff the Stamps fan says, do you ever take a few shots during commercials, Rod? No. And yes, 11:11 Mountain, 1:11 Eastern for the live audience, for those that observe. Carlos, look it up, by the way, the meaning. Go down that rabbit hole, by the way, if you don't mind. Because it may help. It certainly helped me. When you see those numbers, especially randomly, it means you're on the right track. But with the basketball, here's one for you. Not only does everybody think that I'm an athlete because I'm built like an athlete, but everybody thinks that I was a basketball player because I'm 6'3", 220, depending on the day. They all think, oh, what sport did you play? Or even when I was traveling with the Rough Riders, when I was the same age as the players, they were like, what position do you play? Receiver? No, I'm the broadcaster. And then as I got older, it was, what position do you coach? Are you the receivers coach? No, I'm the broadcaster. But we were doing, remember I said we were doing a TV show, a spec show. We were doing interviews, sending it to the network to see if they wanted to carry the show. So we were playing horse with Danny Barrett was our head coach. He is now the running backs coach and associate head coach of the Houston Texans of the NFL. I was so bad. Like, you got a guy that grew up playing basketball in Boynton Beach, Florida, Danny Barrett, and me, a farm kid from Milestone, Saskatchewan, where we didn't even have a basketball nor a soccer ball in our school growing up. We were lucky if we had a football. We had a lot of baseballs. We had a lot of sticks and nets, but we didn't play basketball. I was the whole idea was I'm interviewing him as we play. I was so bad, I couldn't make one basket from anywhere. He's like, just stand right under the thing. Couldn't do it. We went from horse down to pig because it would have been a shorter game. Finally, it's like, let's just screw it. And in the end, they never picked up the show. But the other interesting thing was, one other segment of what we were doing was there was always these kids that played on the lawn of the legislature. For the U.S. viewers, that's like the state buildings, the governor's house, governor's office. It's the legislature in Canada. We had kids that would play like every night on the lawn football. So our star quarterback at that time was a guy by the name of Nealon Green. So let's do this. This would be really cool for the show. Let's just drive up to the legislature, get out of the car. Nealon will walk onto the grass and just, hey, kids, can I play? Which we did. It blew the kid. We just knew there would be kids there every night because there always was. Nealon, big star, played at Clemson from Yonkers, New York. And that was a great segment that never saw the light of the day because the network didn't pick up the show because they didn't care for the CFL. Years later, Tim Hortons did the exact same ad, and the Canadian viewers will know what I'm talking about because Sidney Crosby walked up to an outdoor a pond, frozen pond in Nova Scotia with skates and a stick. Hey, kids, can I play? Same thing. We were doing it years before, but nobody saw it. Faces on the cutting room floor. Murph joins us next. I didn't even get to the hockey. I didn't get to the baseball, but I feel like you're okay with that. The chat with Murph is brought to you by Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, a barn, a rink even, a commercial space? Shoot, you could do an indoor basketball court. They could build it for you. Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca or call 306-985-0050. While we're at it, we're brought to you by Suds. Are you stuck for gift ideas? Suds gift cards available online at our location or at Costco. They're the ultimate for anyone who loves a clean ride. We'll be right back with Murph. Get your questions and comments in 902-518-3033. We're broadcasting on Silver State Sports Game Plus streaming podcast and WQVZ Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Text line's open, 902-518-3033. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge where the deals are real and the service is legendary. Speaking of legends, Murph, can we jump right into NFL talk? Because I know you're giddy about Week 9 in the CFL, but I got a question. The viewers all got a question. Aaron Donald teasing everybody that he's coming back, but he's not in camp. What is your read on that situation?
Well, I think there's probably a lot that goes into it. If you're going to make that comeback, number one, are they going to pay you what was left, kind of on your original contract that you had, right? This collection of stars that the Rams have been able to, accumulate. I think they've taken the NBA, New York Knicks, F them picks, and taken it to a whole new level. Draft picks be damned. If we can win a title, that's what everybody's going to remember. But you also have to look at some point, there is a salary cap implication of Aaron Donald coming back. Number two, looking the way that Aaron Donald looks. You see the workouts, you see him when he's training, with other NFL players. That's one thing. Committing to playing and active and being back out there, what we don't know is what was his true level of health and conditioning when he shut it down. Was there something that was wrong, that was starting to deteriorate, that he noticed himself, and that's why he shut it down early? So I think when you're doing this, that's kind of what players go through. We've had that happen in the CFL on several occasions where veterans want to make a comeback, or you have an injury and you try to go after somebody in the fall, and what they look like in person, and then when they start to practice, can look very different. I also think that at this stage, does Aaron Donald really need to be in training camp in order to perform and do his job if he wanted to play for the Rams? Probably in all likelihood not. We mentioned this a few weeks ago about some of the veteran players that are pending free agents looking to get signed still out in the market. You don't normally see a lot of those guys sign early in training camp because, number one, they don't want to do all that work. Number two, they know they can jump in and play week one in that area. And the main thing also for the teams is, if you bring that guy back now, it's guaranteed, right? You're locked into that player. There's no turning back. So I think if this is going to happen, you'll probably see in the next 2 weeks it start to ramp up even more. But this also could be another tease, right? You saw a few years ago, J.J. Watt tease coming back to the Texans when they look like they could be a Super Bowl contender. There's no doubt that Aaron Donald would probably like to do this and probably still could physically in some way, shape, or form. We just don't know what was the main thing that made him shut it down a couple of years ago. Was it just, I did everything, I've made enough money, we won the Super Bowl, I'm out? Or was there an underlying factor? Because you can still look that good physically like he does, but playing football would be a very dramatic difference, even for somebody that looks like him.
All the coverage at a Las Vegas camp is on Fernando Mendoza running with the twos, and Kirk Cousins is over here going, "Hi, I'm with the ones." All the glare is on Mendoza for obvious reasons. Have the Raiders unintentionally invited a quarterback controversy?
I think so, because, when you look at how much and how often this has been part of Kirk Cousins' sort of career, right? Even on draft day, he's the other quarterback that the now Commanders, then Redskins, right, draft, two quarterbacks. He's the other guy. A catastrophic injury happens to what was then their franchise quarterback. He jumps in and plays and has had a winning career, made as much money as anybody at the position during that period of time. But he's in Minnesota and there's something. He's in Atlanta and there's something. He's going to the Raiders, but he knew that they were taking somebody, with that number one pick. And I think what the Raiders also see is, it's a new coach. You have young weapons. You have a second-year running back, and you have Brock Bowers. But you have a difficult schedule in the early going. Why throw Fernando Mendoza into that and possibly have him, suffering losses, possibly his confidence, getting sacked potentially, and having an opportunity here to play a veteran quarterback, possibly win some of those games early on and create a good atmosphere around the team. And then, around the bye week or possibly in the second half of the season, you find some games to get Mendoza in the mix. I think Kirk Cousins knows this is not going to be his team. And if it is, it's going to be a rental because that's kind of what he is.
One from the viewers before we switch to CFL, or maybe we'll stay on NFL, we'll see. But Utah Darren writes in, he says, as a Chargers fan, what is keeping Justin Herbert from getting to the top tier of NFL quarterbacks?
Well, I mean, I think you've seen it. They leaned heavily on him in kind of the middle years of his early career for it to sort of be all on him. They were going to throw it 35, 40 times. He was going to drop back. He was facing a lot of pressure. Then they go with the offensive line. You draft Slater, you get Alt, and then amazingly you lose both of them last year. So now we had offensive line troubles. Now with Mike McDaniel, and you have Amari Hampton coming back, second-year running back who was very productive until his injury. You have a lot of moving parts now to give the Chargers a chance, play solid defense. You really don't know what's going on with Mahomes until we see him live in action with that big brace on. The Broncos struggled without Nix in the playoffs, but they have a great defense, right? They have a running game, and you have Sean Payton. The Chargers are kind of that dark horse mystery team that they're either going to finish in third because those other two teams are better, or could this be the first, that one season that Harbaugh with a new OC, a run-first offense that also can throw the ball with Herbert? Do you able to see Herbert kind of take that next step that we've never seen it, happen so far? When they play good offense, they don't play good defense. When their offense struggles, their defense then stands up and plays well for periods of time. But when you look at it in totality, the Chargers have to get out of battling for that second, third place and start the season strong, play from ahead, which then McDaniel would look very good in that role as OC for a team that's playing ahead. And when you're playing the Chiefs, you got to stop Mahomes. And when you're playing the Broncos, don't throw interceptions and don't have your quarterback getting sacked 3 to 5 times in the second half of the games. That would be, a difference for them this year. But I think they're one of those teams. You're either going to see them battling for first, or they're still going to be a third-place team with a lot of weapons and a lot of good names. But Herbert, then the same question is going to be asked again. Why is this guy not able to get over that hump?
Hey, I'm watching NFL Network last night. They're covering Chargers camp, and they said, Mike McDaniel, the best offensive coordinator available in the offseason. And I'm like, in Miami as a head coach, they acted like he couldn't tie his shoes. I bet you he's just like so happy to be out of there. You know what I mean? And not be a head coach and just do what he does. You know yourself. Some guys are coordinators. Some guys are head coaches. Some guys should just stay as coordinators.
Well, I mean, you look, Brian Dable, it could be the same thing with him. We'll see this year with Robert Saleh. Is he a head coach or is he just a great defensive coordinator? So I think, that happens in a lot of areas that you look at what they do well. And then you do not factor into the equation that the longer or the higher up the food chain you go, the less that normally what got you there, the less you're actually working in that one particular area of your expertise, because now you're having to be in different meetings as a head coach, just like you're in different meetings going from a position coach to a coordinator. The only other guy in the building that ever talks to the entire team is the special teams coordinator. So going from the OC, where you just have that room and you have their attention, to speaking in front of the whole team, that can be a difference maker, to why guys, turn out to be good or bad head coaches. And a lot of the times the stress of that and learning all the rules, being in charge of the timeouts, the game situations, the 2-minute warning, and things like that, and how you're playing in those situational football, can take away from what you do really well. So we'll see. Because if Mike McDaniel goes out there and they average 25-plus points and say they made the playoffs or won first place, he's going to be a hot candidate again to be a head coach somewhere. But in reality, like you said, we may find out that he may just be a really good offensive coordinator. And if Dable goes down there and works magic with Cam Ward, he'll get another opportunity to be considered a head coach either in the NFL or the NCAA. But again, he may just really be a great offensive coordinator, and the head coach stuff just doesn't match.
John Murphy with us, 4-time Grey Cup champion. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at DraftJM13. What's standing out to you in Week 9 of the Canadian Football League, which kicks off tonight?
Well, I mean, tonight's game, right, will be very interesting. BC making 6 changes. So you're going to have a first-time starting quarterback, who's a rookie, first-time running back. In the backfield, you bringing back a practice roster offensive tackle to have to play there. Now, on the flip side with Winnipeg, I would be surprised if this is not a Brady Oliveira led game for them coming off the bye. Everything they've heard and said, even coming right from Brady, kind of surprised that he was so outspoken with that after the game. But this has kind of been, if there was ever a knock on Coach Condell's offense, it is that they get away from the run because they use that short to intermediate passing game to get away from some of the run game. But you have Brady Oliveira. For the most part, you have the same offensive line. Now, Broxton being out is going to make a change for them this evening. So if you're BC, your chance is your front has to play really well. You have to get a big play out of somebody you're not expecting. And you're probably needing to force a turnover or have something happen on special teams for you while protecting against Trey Vavel, who's a touchdown waiting to happen, and also a likelihood that you're going to see 20 to 25 attempts, out of Brady Oliveira. Now, what the BC Lions have done well is they shut, Justin Rankin down, right? For 2 weeks, they held him in check. So is this a game that BC can somehow compete, get to the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden Caden Salters could make a play here or there and maybe they come out with a win? If so, then you better bet the under because we're probably going to see not a lot of points in this game. But this is a must win, I think, for Winnipeg. If you're going to stay in the race, one team 6-1, right? The Riders are a good football team. You see the Calgary coming on and they could get on a winning streak here with 2 games out east. If you lose this game and you go to 1-4 at home, there's going to be a lot of questions for Winnipeg. So I think this game tonight and then the one on Sunday, that's a lot of changes for the Riders. And when you don't have A.J. Ouellette on offense and you don't have Roland Milligan potentially on defense, not only are they 2 of your biggest playmakers, they are 2 of your biggest culture guys. And to me, every time those guys play, they bring some element of energy, right? They bring a little something different to the field. So this team on the road needs to get that W because you don't want to be now 3.5 games and down 2-0, losing a season series to the Elks, and it's not even August. This is the biggest game of the year for the Riders as well right now.
Vancouver Eric writes it. He says, so you're saying we have a chance? He's a Lions fan. And for our U.S. viewers tuned in Nevada, they would know Caden Salter, having watched him in Colorado. Like, if you're the BC Lions, you did not expect to be starting your third-string quarterback in Week 9. You said it's a must-win for Winnipeg. Murph, is it just a given that it's a must-win for BC at this point at 1-5?
Well, yeah. I think, you're looking at that also because, like I said, how the records of these other teams are looking. Hamilton's going to play 3 straight Western Division teams. Toronto now gets finally to be at home next week after their bye week. So now some things start evening out in terms of their scheduling and their footing. And they avoided a massive injury. It appears as Chad Kelly should be ready to play when they get back on the field. So if you're BC, if you lose here, you're now 3 games behind, Winnipeg, in fifth place out there, but you're 3 games plus behind. So you have to get on track here and then say, are you giving your team a chance to be competitive until Nathan Rourke can come back? Because one thing with that type of injury and not knowing the severity, they haven't given exact details on it, but using Drew Tate as an example. Drew Tate did not want to have the surgery on a shoulder injury like that. And the biggest thing was that, hey, if you slid again, if you get hit on it again or even taken to the ground, it can pop out. It can have long-term lingering effects when you have an injury like that. So are you willing to put Nathan Rourke back in at 1-6, 2-7, or something of that nature, especially when you're also having the O-line and running back injuries that they are facing right now? So I think you're not just playing for tonight and this season. You're also playing to say, hey, would we put our franchise quarterback back in the mix when the injury that he has, if he has something happen again, now you're looking at possibly a reconstruction or you're looking at a full surgery. And when you have those kind of shoulder surgeries, you're now risking that in the long run, it can happen again.
In the time we have left, I'm kind of holding off the animal that's the college football, but you said you're working in that with the athletes in Houston, Texas. You see that the Stanford players have formed a players association, a union, and they're trying to spread it across the ACC, eventually all of college football. What's your take on that? Again, we got about 3 minutes. I know it's a big topic.
So I mean, you can tell that's where it's going, right? Because when you look at the lawsuits, and that's where all this stems from. Right now, if a player ups and leaves, goes in the portal because he wants to get a better deal, you really can, as the colleges, you're not going to win those. So whatever you gave the kid, whatever's on paper, he got it, he's keeping it, you're not getting it back. The stories with LSU and Ole Miss over, hey, there was a payout if he leaves and he goes in the portal and he goes to a different place. You can't really win those because there's nothing right now that standardizes the factor that they're not getting paid to play football. It is a NIL deal, which means when they leave, you can kick and scream and you can call bloody murder, but you can't prove it and you can't win it in a court setting. So the players are smart to say, hey, let's just call this what it is, take out some of the mystery and move forward. And where the NCAA is trapped is that they made this decision over the factor that they thought, hey, putting out the amount of money that they could have lost in a court case 3 to 5 years ago would have been catastrophic. I don't think anybody that was in that decision-making room had any idea in any shape or form that we would be having guys like Ohio State head coach Ryan Day saying, hey, I don't just like what's going on right now. We should be paying even more money for these rosters. It's not survivable for college sports to spend $40 or $50 million on a college football roster. It's one of the things that you see. If you're playing football and you want to be a contender, you can do that if you're not trying to be a contender in men's basketball or some of the other sports. St. John's, great example. They can go put out a $30 million basketball roster because there's no football roster to care about. But when you are those other teams, if you're Vanderbilt now and you want to be a top 20 team in football and a top 20 team in basketball, where are you coming up with the finances to do that? And that is why there's every likelihood that this season we see another team that's some kind of outside the element that's kind of lingering around. That could be a top 15 team or battling for that last playoff spot because a team like Boise State or Hawaii or UNLV, somebody can be that next James Madison, Indiana, because if they press in the resources to that one sport, suddenly you can get on the table and you can have an opportunity. But it's something that you're going to see a change. And I think what Stanford and those players are doing is just trying to press buttons, and it could work. But the reason for it is to protect everybody as opposed to just that high-end 3 to 5% of the class that's making a ton of money. And then you have a lot of other guys with deals that basically aren't worth the paper they're printed on.
Yeah, and it would be nice if we could just watch the games, but it's not about that anymore. And I look at the school that's right down the street from my house, FAU. They're like, we're a basketball school. So we're not investing money into football. All of a sudden, that's not a preferred coaching job. It's not somewhere you want to go as a player because you're not going to get paid and you're never going to win. Oh, my God, have they screwed this up. Okay, Murph, enjoy the games. Talk soon.
Awesome. You got it, guys.
John Murphy joining us from Houston, talking NFL, CFL, and now college. Follow him on Instagram and X, Twitter at DraftJM13. We'll be coming right back with a sports update, everybody, and your comments on all of this when we return. 902-518-3033. The text line is open for business here on Silver State Sports, WQVZ.
For a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth a team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center. Now. The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Sask Tigs.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Rocking and rolling on a Thursday here on the RP Show. Thank you, Monty, for writing in saying what an awesome interview with Murph. The man can talk about it all. Great job, Murph. I appreciate it. Viewer takeover the rest of the way, but not before a sports update by our friends at Ultimate Fan Zone. What better advertising can I give you for the place other than I walk in there the other day and I'm like, Billy, I need some Las Vegas Raiders gear. What do you got? He's got, we got a ton of hats, and I got, he had almost bought some signs to put on the wall here and take back to Florida. But no, I got this hoodie for you. What do you think? I'll take it. Every time. He's got your team. He's got your size. He's got everything. Ultimate Fan Zone. Check out their selection and inventory at ultimatefanzone.ca. Raiders, Riders, Blue Jays, NFL, NHL, you name it, they've got it. Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. From that sports update, San Jose Sharks phenom Macklin Celebrini, 20 years of age, is set to become the NHL's highest-paid player, $18.8 million per season, after inking a 5-year, $94 million extension with the team. And it's certainly got everybody talking. It's been fun. In hour one, our co-host is a Vancouver Canucks fan, Kevin the Medium. He's a medium. That's not what he wears. He's a medium. He speaks to dead people. He's a fortune teller. And they don't all, like he's a Vancouver Canucks fan, Kevin the Medium. Not everybody in Vancouver, which is where Macklin Celebrini's from, and Connor Bedard too, thinks those two are going to go to the Canucks. But enough people do think that they're going to eventually sign with the Canucks to be very annoying. It's just like people, Leafs media, Toronto people that think, oh, of course Connor McDavid's going to want to come play for the Leafs. He's from here. Why everybody wants to play. Maybe they don't. Have we thought about that? And meanwhile, the Vancouver Canucks are ranked 32nd in the NHL coming back for the 2026-27 season. Now, and the kid just signed a 5-year deal. So we're not even talking about it for 5 years. Same thing with Bedard. But welcome to the summer in Canada. It can be annoying. The Major League Soccer All-Stars beat the Liga Mexico All-Stars 4-3 in Charlotte behind 2 goals from LA star Son Heung-min. It was a repeat of their win over the same team last year and their 4th win in 5 matchups since 2021. Does it feel like there's more sports than there's ever been, or is it just me? The NBA's investigation into Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers could reportedly extend into 2027. Such a delay would likely throw a wrench into the proposed trade to send Leonard back to the Raptors, which is currently on hold because of the investigation. Speaking of investigations, again this morning I went to ESPN.com just to see what's popping, what's the latest. 4 show topics for this show. Regarding UNC investigation into NIL improprieties, Bill Belichick says no comment. Of course he does. No comment is a comment coming from somebody who's worked in the media for 38 years. The last place LA Angels are sending starting pitcher Logan O'Hoppe and relief pitcher Chase Silseth to the Texas Rangers in exchange for infield prospect Angel Arredondo. The sell-off has begun in Anaheim. It was interesting last week when we had Scott Belford on here from the Walk-Off podcast. We were talking about the fact that 2/3 of MLB teams are in contention of at least a wild card spot. 2/3. Clearly the Angels aren't one of them. So anyways, when we come back in overtime, get your questions and comments ready for that. Final segment of the day coming up. 902-518-3033, whatever you would like to discuss. 902-518-3033 on the Western Dodge text line and the YouTube chat. We've got CFL Week 9 kicking off tonight. BC at Winnipeg. We got the MLB stuff we just talked about, NFL training camp news. Oh, and a few things that I actually didn't get to in the warm-up. We'll kick those all around when we return, and I would love for you to be a part of that. Again, 902-518-3033. For instance, I mentioned the Raptors. They've announced yesterday that they're taking their training camp on the road for 2 neutral site preseason games. That's the poll question, which I haven't even brought up yet here in this hour on Silver State Sports. Would you attend an NBA preseason neutral site game if it came to your town? We'll tell you the results of that and more when the RP Show continues.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Coming right back at you for overtime from the Golden Ticket Sports Center. Please don't be distracted by the basketball players running over my shoulder. I think you can handle it. Overtime is for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes. It will be August the 19th that we'll be doing a live show from Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. And confirmed today, Stanley Cup champion Colin Patterson is going to be coming down and joining us live. We'll see who else will join us, but Patty for sure. We're all deal makers in this business. Colin Patterson, who also played for the Buffalo Sabres, texted me this morning. He says, can we count on you to be at the Theron Flirty Breaking Free Foundation Golf Tournament August 20th? I said, I'll be there with the show. If you'll come join me at Overtime Hockey Lanes the day before. Patty's like, deal. I do love Calgary, despite rumors otherwise. Speaking of, Jeff the Stamps fan writes in, he says, it's hot for a hoodie. Not to me, bro. I can finally say this. I'm from Florida. This ain't nothing. I haven't even cracked a drop of sweat yet this summer here. Everybody's going nuts, and I feel bad for them. But you have no idea how hot it is in South Florida right now. Somebody was saying, well, when the breeze blows, it's no, not there. When the breeze blows, it's like a dragon breathing fire on you. There's no relief from it down there. And having said that, I'll take that over the winter cold in Canada. The beautiful thing is, I don't have to deal with either. It's the best life. You don't see me complaining. Unlike everybody else. Vintage Sasko writes in, he says, if the RP show took a pee test for awesomeness, it would test positive. Probably be the only thing we'd be testing positive for. But thank you, Vintage Sasko. Utah Darren writes in, he says, I am still amazed that MLS and the WNBA have both survived for 25 to 30 years. The reason there is, do you want to know why? And it's why the CFL will never die either. The owners just have a lot of money and they won't let it fail. That's kind of where we're at. And they serve a great thing. Like, we love our CFL, the soccer fans love their MLS, and the basketballers love the WNBA. I don't watch those. And as I said, I tried last week, but I'm going to get personal for a moment. Just yesterday, there was a little girl waiting in there's stands, bleachers over here on the other side. You don't ever see them, but there are. And there was a young girl sitting there with a T-shirt on just yesterday that said New York Liberty. And as I was packing up and taking my stuff off the court, her mom came out and she said, my daughter was afraid to come out and play basketball while you were on the air. Is it okay if she comes out now? I said, absolutely. So I put all my stuff away, and then I walked up to her and I said, you can come out and play basketball whenever you want. We don't even hear it. You go ahead, shoot till your heart's content. And she just smiled. She'd have been about 12. And she sat there with her hair. Now, I raised 3 girls, and 2 of them were basketball players. So I kind of got it, and I'm like, now I get it even more. Why shouldn't these young girls have the opportunity, like us little boys, looking at the football players and the hockey players? And for me, quite frankly, the broadcasters and the writers. That was my thing. But the point is, they should have something to aspire to as well. And I don't know if that little girl's going to play in the WNBA, but gosh darn it, she's going to try. And like I say, the New York Liberty was her team, and I wasn't going to bother her because she was determined. But it did kind of touch how polite she is, that she just sat there with her knee on her basketball waiting for me to be done so she could go play. I said, you go play whenever you want. Monty in Saskatoon says, I'm going to miss you when you go back to the USA. Here's the thing, Monty. You can see me every day right here, just like you do now. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. You don't see me in person. You see me on TV. You'll be fine, Monty. Just tune us in every day. What else do we have? Vintage Sasko says, mainstream media has been spreading lies about pigs for years. I don't even want to know how that came up. I was talking about playing pig earlier. Did you hear that? Basketball. It's a basketball game. Andrew writes in, he's watching in North Battleford, the home of Ruben Mays and Emil the Cat Francis. And from the Dragon's Den, Brett Wilson, and a lot of really famous, great people. Robin Silvernagle, the curling great, North Battleford. Andrew says bunny hug. Or sorry, he says hoodie. I think you spelled bunny hug wrong, Rod. That's the one thing about the Sask people. God bless them. Can't, won't, not interested in looking outside the rectangle that is the 3. Just nothing exists outside of there. To them. Yeah. Producer Corey agreeing. He just said, and how. God bless him. Oh, and I meant to get into some serious stuff, although we did address it earlier and way more in hour 1. The 2 guys that coached the Vegas Golden Knights last year, John Tortorella and Bruce Cassidy, where do they coach next year? Again, I'm sitting here in Canada. This is the stuff they talk about. I'm not saying it's not great. And the summer weather there's nowhere else I would rather be in the summer than here. I love it so much, especially Moose Jaw. But they just sit around and talk about hockey things all the time. And the coaching thing, I can get into. I can get down with. And I said, well, look at the 5 worst rated teams coming back in the NHL next season based on the FanDuel odds. Don't come at me. Vancouver, in reverse of Vancouver, Calgary, Chicago, St. Louis, Seattle. The odds are one of them. Which one will it be? The next 2 hours taken care of with these guys. So, yeah. Kirk in Toronto, I'll catch football Friday traveling up to Round Lake Center in the beautiful Madawaska Valley. Enjoy the long weekend and all the CFL games. Okay, bro, we'll be here tomorrow, so we'll talk then. Brent in the Bridge City says, did someone say bacon? I'm in. Oh, come on down and have a Weston Walls hot dog here. Oh, at our Miller's games. Hot dogs, cheese, bacon, barbecue sauce. When I tell you, you're not going to have a better hot dog than that. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Especially you, Vintage Sasko. He says, I'm enjoying the coaches cutting players in the background. No other show would broadcast this. Right? Monty, you're the man. We'll see y'all tomorrow right here.
That